Well, folks, Elon Musk is the scourge of the world. Now the left is accusing him of anti-Semitism. According to the left, true anti-Semitism is apparently saying that George Soros is a bad person. Or apparently it's really bad that I said last week that Bernie Sanders is not Jewish. Okay, when I say he's not Jewish, I don't mean that he's technically not biologically or ethnically Jewish. I said on the show he is ethnically Jewish, meaning his mom is Jewish. But Judaism is more than just your ethnic Judaism. Like if you have no connection to actual Jewish belief or practice, you're not particularly Jewish. Bernie Sanders is an anti-Israel fanatic who hates religion, generally speaking, and is a socialist who has fomented the worst members of his anti-Semitic party. I mean, it's wild. But Elon Musk is bad. Why is Elon Musk bad? Well, Elon Musk is the real answer. The left is laser focused on anti-Semitism. Hundreds of millions of dollars to the Palestinian Authority, being nice to the Iranians, making sure that Rashida Tlaib has Nakba Day over in the Congress. No condemnation from the White House for any of that stuff. But Elon Musk, he tweeted badly about George Soros. What did Musk tweet? He tweeted, Soros reminds me of Magneto. Why? Well, apparently he said, so Brian Krasenstein said, fun fact, Magneto's experiences during the Holocaust as a survivor shaped his perspective as well as his depth and empathy. Soros, also a Holocaust survivor, gets attacked nonstop for his good intentions, which some Americans think are bad, merely because they disagree with his political affiliations. And Musk had the temerity to say you assume they are good intentions. They are not. He wants to erode the very fabric of civilization. Soros hates humanity. Okay, now, you can think that's true about Soros. You can think it's not true about Soros. I certainly think that George Soros has taken inordinately terrible action in America's major cities and that his international agenda is really scurrilous. With that said, what does that have to do with Soros being ethnically Jewish? Soros himself holds no truck with Judaism. Again, the rule for the left is that they become very, very specific about ethnic Judaism only in order to defend Jews who really stand contra most of Judaism, Jewish philosophy, Jewish practice, the state of Israel. Then all of a sudden they become the word in Hebrew is makbid. They become incredibly specific about what constitutes a Jew. Noam Chomsky, excellent Jew. Bernie Sanders, excellent Jew. George Soros, the only reason you would attack these people is because they are Jewish, not because they are wrong on everything. No, they are wrong on everything, and it's not anti-Semitic to say so. Ridiculous. By the way, they never seem to have the same sort of qualms about criticizing, for example, Sheldon Adelson when he was alive. None of those qualms. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, in sort of an astonishing exchange on CNBC that has now gone viral, he was asked about the fact that he says controversial things on Twitter, and here was his answer.
Do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. Or, I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
He really thinks about it for 12 seconds. He's thinking.
I'm reminded of the scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Okay.
Good for him. Good for him. Let's talk about a simple fact. If you do have a family, if you do have dependents, you need a life insurance plan. It's just a responsible thing to do. I have a lot of life insurance on my life. I've joked before that if my wife and I ever have a falling out, her solution is murder, probably rather than divorce because of the amount of life insurance that we have on me. But life insurance is a must for you because the reality is, God forbid something should happen to you, you are going to need to make sure that your family is supported. Policy Genius makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies and find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies starting at just $25 per month for $1 million in coverage. Some options offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid those unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius's licensed agents work for you, not the insurance companies. That means they don't have an incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. There are no added fees. Your personal information remains private. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net, and you deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head on over to policygenius.com/Shapiro or click the link in the description. Get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save today. That's policygenius.com. PolicyGenius.com/Shapiro to get started. PolicyGenius.com/Shapiro. If you're in a small business, you need to plan ahead. One of the best ways to do that, use Stamps.com to mail and ship. Stamps.com lets you print your own postage and shipping labels right from your home or office. It's ready to go in minutes, so you can get back to running your business sooner. Stamps.com offers rates you can't find anywhere else, like up to 84% off USPS and UPS. Plus, they automatically tell you your cheapest and fastest shipping options. For 25 years, Stamps.com has been indispensable for over 1 million businesses. Get access to the shipping services you need to run your business right from your computer. No lines, no traffic, no waiting. You can print postage wherever you do business. They even send you a free scale, so you'll have everything you need to get started. It's super simple. We've been doing it at Daily Wire. Since 2017, we've saved ourselves a ton of time and a ton of money. Set your business up for success by getting started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with promo code Shapiro for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and free digital scale. No long-term commitments, no contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the homepage, enter promo code Shapiro. Again, Stamps.com, click that mic at the top of the page, enter code Shapiro, start saving time, start saving money. Don't schlep your stuff down to the post office. Let Stamps.com handle it for you. Instead, Stamps.com, click that mic at the top of the page, enter code Shapiro. There are certain indicators, bleeding edge indicators as to a society's decline. Some are statistical and some are moral, and typically they tend to cross streams. There's a story yesterday that caught my attention. It flew across the Twitters, and it was a story about the CEO of OnlyFans. So OnlyFans is essentially an amateur porn site. It is where people unclothe for money. It is visual prostitution, in essence. And according to Business Insider, the number of creators, they're not calling them creators, even though it's just women taking off their clothes on a camera, signed up to OnlyFans surged by about 40% last year, bringing the total to more than 3 million for the subscription platform that mostly features adult content. CEO Ami Gan told the Web Summit in Rio de Janeiro last week, "We've noticed a huge uptick in creators as well as fans joining the platform. We attribute that to OnlyFans is very much a global business. We're in over 100 countries. The company is now setting its sights on Latin America and Australia to further increase its numbers." Gan said, "We're looking at growth for the business. Latin America is a huge part of that." Apparently, OnlyFans had revenues of close to $1 billion in 2021. And the owner of OnlyFans, a guy named Leo Redvinsky, has made more than $500 million from the platform since 2020. And of course, the parent company he took control of that in 2018. So why is this an important story? Well, as it turns out, a civilization in which women are incentivized to prostitute themselves on camera also tends to be a civilization in decline. So there's a biblical idea that women are holier than men. And for all the talk about the Bible being sexist, there is a deep-rooted biblical idea that women are holier than men. So, for example, in the book of Exodus, when it comes to the sin of the golden calf, the idea is that the men participated, but the women did not. And the notion that women are the guardians of a society's holiness makes some sense, because obviously men, when left to their own devices, are not oriented toward children. They don't stick around. There's no biological imperative for a man to stick around to raise his child in the same way that there is a connection between a woman and a child. When you sever connections between women and children, and when you make the highest ideal of any society the sexual impulse, what you end up with is a society in moral decline, in which women are prostituting themselves on camera for pay and treating this as some form of magical empowerment, and men are indulging their baser instincts under these circumstances. And the result is, unsurprisingly, a massive decline in the American birth rate. So there's a chart that jumped out at me yesterday. It's from the University of Maryland and Wesley College, and there's a piece over at econofact.org called "The Mystery of the Declining U.S. Birth Rate." This is a chart of birth rates in the United States. And what you see is births per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44 in the United States, 1980 to 2020. What you see is essentially there's at least a certain level of stability to American birth rates from about 1980 to about 2007. There's some ups, there are some downs. There's a big jump essentially in about 1990. Which coincides with the end of the Cold War and this sort of economic optimism. And then it declines again during the 90s. It goes back up during the early 2000s. And then in 2007, it just falls off an absolute cliff. Starting in 2007, the births per 1,000 women aged 15 to 44 drops from about 68 all the way down to today, just over 55. That is a massive decrease. According to econofact.org, the Great Recession disrupted a stable period in birth rates. For the almost 3 decades, between 1980 and 2007, the U.S. birth rate hovered between 65 and 70 births per 1,000 women between the ages of 15 and 44. The birth rate followed a predictable pro-cyclical pattern, falling during economic downturns, recovering when the economy improves. But something changed around the time of the Great Recession. The birth rate fell precipitously, but it did not recover when the economy improved. Rather, the U.S. birth rate has continued a steady decline. As of 2020, the U.S. birth rate was 55.8 births per 1,000 women. That is down almost 20% from the rate of 69.3 in 2007. Econofact says the decline in births cannot be readily explained by changing population composition. The sustained decline in U.S. births since 2007 has been driven by declining births among many demographic groups rather than by changes in population composition. Births have fallen among women in their early 20s, late 20s, and teens as well. And there's no obvious policy or economic factor that can explain much of that decline. The onset of the Great Recession played a role in the early stages of the decline. But beyond that, it's difficult to identify any policy or economic factor that can statistically account for the continued decline. Successive generations, women are having fewer children at every single age. So generation on generation, women are having fewer and fewer kids. Shifting priorities, they say, could be the primary driver for the decline in the birth rate since 2007. I'm going to suggest that what has actually happened is that since 2007, there's been a bit of a confound. Everybody is saying it's 2007, 2008 economic recession. But as that study points out, the real problem here is not actually the economy in 2007, 2008, because again, according to pretty much everyone, the economy got better after 2007, 2008. It improved pretty dramatically since Donald Trump took office from 2016 to 2019. And then it dropped off a cliff in 2020, and then it's been recovering since then. But you haven't seen the birth rates going up and down to match all that. So something else happened. Something else happened. Okay, so what exactly has happened in Western society to lead to this declined birth rate? Because what you've seen is that this is mirrored pretty much across the West. It's not unique to the United States. The rest of the show continues right now, believe it or not. We're going to go from this to me talking about the Catholic view of lust with Matt Fradd, host of Pints with Aquinas. He'll be joining us momentarily. This is a wild show today. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free with our annual plan.